Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to another New World Guide video. The main goal of today's video is to try and help you find the weapons that are the perfect fit for you to main in New World. To do this, I will be judging the weapons on 5 different levels. That being how the weapon performs in solo leveling and questing content, dungeons, open world PvP, war, and dueling. Please note that all of this is my personal opinion in the given moment of post-beta, and is subject to change at any point of upcoming patches. I would ask you to check out the comment section where you will find I have commented every weapon type. Do me a favor and drop a like on the weapons you will be maining, and a comment explaining why you are picking that weapon. I'm anxious to see which weapons are panning out to be the most popular. Thanks, and let's get into the video. The Sword and Shield, staple of any MMO. The tank class. With a specialty of team play, the Sword and Shield shines in group content. For solo leveling and questing, the Sword and Shield has an amazing, smooth playstyle with great damage, but what it lacks is sustain. For dungeons, you provide essential utility to your groups, whether it be in the Swordmaster tree, with leadership granting 10% damage to the entire group, or on the right side with the Defender tree, providing an actual tank for the group. Open world PvP, you have stuns, gap closers, and high damage. What more can you ask for? Where the Sword and Shield finds its weakness, in my opinion, is war. You could find a place peeling for your backline with your stuns and knockback, but to try and initiate is going to be painful for the Sword and Shield. For dueling and 1v1, again, you have a gap closer, stuns, and high damage. What more can you ask for? Great Axe. The Great Axe specialty is initiation. To initiate, you have Gravity Well, which is a long-range distance ability. You can launch from afar, trapping enemies inside, slowing them. You also have Charge, which is a long-distance gap closer. For all forms of content in New World, the Great Axe shines. Its entire kit is powerful. It has amazing single target damage, amazing AoE damage. It has grit built into its heavy attacks. It has a lunge built into its light and heavy attack. You're never sad to have the Great Axe in your hands in any content in New World. Fire Staff. If your MMO class fantasy is typically mage, this weapon is most likely for you. With abilities such as Fireball and Incinerate, the Fire Staff specialty is Burst. For solo leveling, earlier on you will struggle a bit with mana issues, but give the Fire Staff some time and it'll heat up. For dungeons, you have great single target and great AoE damage. For open world PvP, you can be a nightmare raining hellfire from afar, or make your battle mage dreams come true while you are charging into the mix of battle with burnout. Because you are a ranged weapon with AoE, you are a powerful force for war. For dueling, your burst damage is your strong suit. The Bow. If you just got done rewatching Lord of the Rings for the 12th time and you want to roleplay Legolas, the Bow is the weapon for you. The Bow's specialty is kiting. One of the most mobile ranged weapons, you have the ability to hit and run, slow your enemies with leg shots, and keep moving as you push more damage on the enemies who pursue you. The Bow is a great weapon for leveling. One of the downsides is the upkeep of your arrows, which can certainly be a pain in the early levels. For dungeons, you have both good AoE and amazing single target damage, but your AoE cooldowns are very long. For open world PvP and war both, being a mobile range DPS is definitely a threat, but you fall behind quickly if you aren't hitting every headshot. There is nothing more painful than headshotting someone multiple times just to see them heal to full in 1 second. For dueling, the Bow is excellent. Its kiting capabilities make it a strong match versus melee. The Hatchet. The Hatchet's specialty is raw damage and healing reduction. The Hatchet certainly has one of the highest damage outputs, and with it being the only weapon with a healing reduction effect, it will definitely have its niche for when that is needed, especially if the life staff and healing potions stay as powerful as they are. For solo leveling, the Hatchet is one of the best. Its ability, Berserk, feels like it was designed for leveling. Berserk gives you increased movement speed, increased damage, massive health regen, makes you uninterruptible, and it's a short cooldown. High damage plus movement speed plus sustain is a recipe for an amazing time leveling. For dungeons, the Hatchet's massive damage output makes up for its lack of AoE. For open world PvP and war, the Hatchet tends to struggle to connect to its target. Although if you are indeed able to connect, you will massacre your enemies with this weapon. For dueling, the Hatchet is extremely scary. One mistake from your enemies can result in a huge damage intake from the Hatchet. Musket. The Musket's specialty is Sniper, with passives to remove damage falloff, and a 3x zoom effect. The Musket can connect damage from unmatched ranges. The Musket excels at long-range combat where enemies cannot respond. Although unlike the bow, the Musket does not have exceptional kiting capabilities. With healing being the way it is in New World, aim alone will not cut it for the Musket. Positioning will separate a good Musket player from a great one. For solo leveling, the Musket is able to kill targets before they can fight back. One of the downsides for leveling, although, is the upkeep of ammo, which can be painful early on. For dungeons, the Musket provides good single target damage and can provide mediocre AoE when talented into Sticky Bomb. For open world PvP, again, your positioning will be the key factor for success. But when positioned well, the Musket can be a nightmare for unsuspecting enemies. Make Chris Kyle proud. For war, the open battlefields allow you free fire damage from afar. Be on the lookout for enemies trying to sneak a flank. The weakness of the Musket for PvP, in my opinion, is dueling. With its closed quarter combat being suboptimal, you will have a hard time fending off many of the other weapons with the Musket. Warhammer. The Warhammer specialty is Disruption, with multiple crowd control abilities, including one that literally flattens your enemies. The Warhammer loves heavy attack, with the Juggernaut talent tree providing many passives to scale your heavy attack up. The Warhammer has a very smooth playstyle. The way you move with it, the animations, everything feels nice about the Warhammer. Try it out and you'll see what I mean. For solo leveling, the Warhammer is excellent. Your combat efficiency is great in 1v1s, and you aren't afraid of a big pool either when you have an AoE stun ability. For dungeons, the Warhammer can be extremely powerful. You will need to time those heavy attacks to land impactful damage. For open world PvP and war, as long as you can find a way into the mix of battle, you will find massive value. AoE stuns and knockbacks can be the difference between a won and lost fight. For dueling, you are not afraid to go toe-to-toe with anyone, but your lack of mobility will make fighting ranged weapons a challenge. Spear. The Spear specialty is Duelist. If you were to ask me which weapon currently in the game plays the most like a rogue, I would say the Spear, and that is because of the stun lock combo the Spear has. Javelin stun into sweep stun into vault kick stun, or any combination of the three, allows you to dismantle your enemy in a 1v1 scenario, without fear of return damage from him either. For solo leveling, the Spear does just fine. Nothing amazing about it, nothing bad about it either. It gets the job done. For dungeons, the Spear can hold its own. The crowd control it provides is always nice, and you can spec into a DPS build as well. For open world PvP, you excel. You have a gap closer and multiple stuns allowing you to catch and kill enemies on the run. For war, you do have the option to vault kick in and sweep stun enemies, but in doing so you are extremely vulnerable. Alternatively, you can try to sneak around and catch a player off on his own. Small scale combat is where you want to find yourself. For dueling, you are one of the strongest weapons. In the hands of a great Spear player, the Spear can be extremely hard to beat in 1v1s. Rapier. The Rapier specialty is that it is currently the best secondary and most versatile weapon in my opinion. Its movement ability Flèche can be used offensively as a gap closer or defensively as an escape ability. Quick swapping your weapon to Rapier and using Riposte can guarantee a stun on an opponent who thought they caught you. Rapier has one of the highest potential single target DPS of all the weapons, combined with the burst of its blood abilities, Tondo Fluorescent Finish. For solo leveling, good use of Evade can keep you healthy, or you can choose to one-shot mobs with your blood combo. For dungeons, the high DPS ceiling of the Rapier places it above average in my mind, with its only downside being AoE. For open world PvP, the Rapier lacks a good way to stick to its target, with no lunge built into your light or heavy attack. It is easy for opponents to escape from you. For war, again you are having a hard time utilizing the Rapier for its damage offensively. In my mind currently, the Rapier is best suited as your secondary, utilizing the Riposte and Fléché abilities when they are needed. For dueling in 1v1s, the Rapier can outplay, outmove, and defeat any other melee weapon if played correctly. The skill ceiling of the Rapier in melee combat is extremely high, and I can't wait to see what it looks like when someone masters this weapon. Ice Gauntlet. The Ice Gauntlet specialty is that it is completely anti-melee. If you have ever tried to push an Ice Gauntlet player as a melee and being caught in an ice shower and spammed with heavy freeze, you know what I mean. For solo leveling, the Ice Gauntlet fears nothing. You can grab as many mobs as you want, drop an Ice Storm, and entomb yourself as they all rot in your Ice Storm. For dungeons, the Ice Gauntlet is amazing. You provide great damage, CC, and utility. For open world PvP, the only time you feel outmatched is when you're outranged. The weakness of the Ice Gauntlet is its range. Other ranged weapons can outrange you, and there is nothing you can do until you close that distance. For war, you have a perfect kit for dropping abilities such as Ice Storm or Ice Shower on objectives, making it really tough for the enemies to move out of your team's incoming damage. For dueling and 1v1, where you cannot be outranged, and you are able to lock down your enemies with your freezes, the Ice Gauntlet is a monster. Life Staff. The Life Staff specialty is support, and unlike in other games, this support can be almost fully utilized for yourself, as well as having the offensive capabilities that are close to, if not sometimes more powerful than, even some of the other ranged DPS weapons. There is not a single situation in New World that I can think of where I would feel weak when holding a Life Staff. The Life Staff is so powerful currently that even for those of you who do not plan to main Life Staff as one of your two weapons, I highly suggest you keep one in your inventory to swap to when needed. You will save yourself a lot of food and health pots. For all of the content of New World, the same can be said for the Life Staff. You feel unkillable, your damage is nothing to laugh at, and you provide insane utility in groups. And that wraps up our video for today. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more New World guides.